All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Traversing the Veil. Yes, this is one of my custom RPGs set in my custom weird, messed up D&D world, and the people below me are the people that are going to be playing and regretting their life choices. So,
Too late.
um, to kind of recap everything that's just happened, um, the party. I guess I just realized I'm not in roll 20. I was trying to figure out
Oh,
what screen am I.
Jesus!
What screen am I missing? Oh,
Howdy.
that one.
Howdy.
No maps, no music. What are we doing?
It's been a rough day, folks.
Yeah, I hear ya.
All right, there we go. So, without any further ado, let's return to traversing the veil. The road you travel can be interesting. Sometimes it turns where you're not expecting it to. Sometimes it stops unexpectedly, which is what's happened for some of the travelers on the crew. Karen has started this journey looking for her crew, and after the party found themselves on a mysterious island, Karen was able to find her crew. But due to the changes they had been put through, they didn't feel it was okay for them to go back to regular society. They wanted to find their old captain, and Karen decided to stay with them. Lucky, on the other hand, had his decision made for him, as a strange, otherworldly creature captured him and took him to lands unknown. The rest of the crew decided to continue on their own journey without their former captain, to figure out what other mysteries they may be able to solve from their own lives. Perhaps even discover a few new mysteries themselves. But among all, as they see the Skywell coming into view on the horizon, they know that their journey isn't over yet. So, the party has been on the Vale for about a week now, or just under. Having the maps and everything from. That is the wrong music. There we go. So, the party's been sailing for a little under a week with your little fleet, basically. You have your ship in the little lead, and then two kind of smaller ships carrying the remainder of the people that decided to leave the island that you were on. Seaston Village is what they called it. And now you're finally getting to the point where you can see this. This is Skywell, which again is the furthest southwest mapped point in the sovereignty. So you're effectively almost back to civilization, though
Oh,
calling the Skywell civilization may be straining the definition slightly. You think within, because you can see it on the horizon now, you think within the next 3 to 4 hours you'll be able to dock and make your decision as to where you want to go next. The journey back has been a bit of a solemn one. You guys have had a few passengers with you, just because every ship had to effectively be loaded up to its limit with passengers. So you guys, while you are, you're rated effectively for about 8 passengers and then loads of cargo, you converted parts of the cargo bay into makeshift living quarters, and have roughly around 25 refugees on your boat specifically. Thus far, the captain's cabin has remained empty. As none of you have or I guess I should ask you, have any of you decided to move your stuff into the captain's cabin yet?
No. Zarian would have spent the entirety of the travel time just studying the new maps to update his world map with the info we got from that island and just working on some inventions.
Okay.
Are the maps in the captain's quarters?
No, you guys brought the maps with you. Obviously, the captain did have a navigation desk in her quarters that had most of the charts and things like that you guys used. But it was just as common for her to bring those charts out to the little kind of living room area on the mid deck to discuss them with you there. So you guys could have used the captain quarters as much or as little as you feel is appropriate for your characters.
I would also sometime during that week after, like, probably towards the end of it, track down Smegwick. I know I wasn't in the right headspace back there, and I apologize. So
None of us were. Don't worry about that.
and I'll hand him a ring. This isn't anything like romantic or anything. It's more.
I was gonna
of
say
a,
you're supposed to get down on a knee when you do this, Robert. I mean, you're handsome and all, but that's not me.
Meanwhile, like on the far end of the hall, you can hear some faint violin of "Here Comes the Bride."
I think my -2 charisma disagrees with your statement of him being attractive, but just put it on and it.
You don't know
help
me.
you out.
Bit of bling, or does this do anything?
After you spend some time with it, you'll figure it out. But just in case, yeah, I'll post it what it does for you.
Oh, okay. Out of character, do I have? This is like, I know this is something an artificer does. Do I still have to attune to it?
This one, I'll check if it requires attunement.
Oh, nice.
If the item normally requires attunement, you would need to attune to it just like any other magic item. The difference being the difference with artificer infusions is if they're not effectively refreshed once a day, then the object becomes mundane by the next day. So
Good to know.
but they depending on the infusion, if the infusion is meant to mimic a magic item, then it works just like the regular magic item would. So
All right. Well, cool. Thanks much, Lee. Hey, do you? I was gonna ask you if you. I know you were able to identify stuff. Can you detect magic? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, why?
Well, I was thinking we got as many books as we could get onto the cargo hold. I was wondering if we should ought to like maybe you and I should take a look through them.
Yeah, I can do that. I've had time to swap some things around. I guess I will go down where all the books are with Smegwick and ritually cast detect magic.
Yeah, the books themselves are not magical in any way, shape, or form.
I like to do is to go through if we even like if we can go through whatever time we have, if we have time or not, while we're going, like maybe not all at once if we can, or if we do, to see if there's any books of any discernible value.
Um, Not particularly. The books themselves, a significant portion of them are books related to the religion, effectively, from Seaston. So you had effectively about 6 books that were their quote unquote holy books that basically kind of laid out uh, uh, the deification of the island itself, some parable kind of things to kind of teach people right and wrong, stuff like that. And then large portions of the books were interpretations of the sacred text and things that you can learn from them and all those other kind of things. And
Would this be something that might be of value to the at Zuros?
Probably not. Aside from the fact that it is a quote unquote new religion to a deity that doesn't exist. So, just as a historical item, they might be interested in it. It would not be something that would pay for because all you effectively have cult materials. Some
Well,
pamphlets that talk about
well, crap.
your cult. Of those
Lovely.
specifically. There were other books there that. Oh, sorry, my neck is killing me.
Yeah.
There were other books there as well that were more kind of how-to guides. Like they had some horticulture books. They had some agriculture books that were written by people on the island. So their use outside of the island is less so because it relied on the very specific properties of the island that don't seem to coincide with normal growing periods and the things like that. But someone that's very, very interested in agriculture or horticulture or anything like that might be interested in those as well. Again, value-wise, you would have to find the right buyer to actually make any money off of it.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the books that you guys find that don't kind of fit into those two categories seem to be mostly gibberish. Not so much like a language you don't understand, as in literal gibberish written in multiple different languages, and they seem to be almost random collections of words that don't fit any syntax. They don't fit any. They don't fit any sentence structure, anything like that. It quite literally seems to be gibberish, and even
Doesn't seem like a code or a cipher.
not that you can tell. Even using spells like comprehend language and stuff like that doesn't actually change it into anything other than gibberish. It's possible there's more there. However, you would need someone that is specifically trained in cryptology or something similar to that, code breaking, to see if there is some sort of code linked in it. It would be beyond anyone other than an expert in that to be able to find it.
Before we get back to Skywell, I will just sit down in the last few hours and just write down as much as I can with my memory about the creature and what we learned, appearance and everything, just in case if something like this happens again, we have some recollection.
Sure. Make me an intelligence saving throw.
That's good. That's 24.
24. Okay. As you start kind of writing the things that you can, you start to realize there are large gaps in your memory, specifically when you think about this creature. You can remember things like you remember Lucky being taken, and you remember seeing some massive creature, but for the life of you, you cannot remember any physical descriptions of the creature itself. And when you think back to the actual memories themselves, it's almost as if there is some sort of like sensor bar or something over the creature in your memory. Focusing really, really hard, you are able to fight through it a little bit and remember, small pieces like it was aquatic somewhat in nature. It had tentacles. But beyond that, there seems to be some sort of memory block or something on the memories that you've never encountered before.
God, fuck you, Eden.
But that is a something that you would mention, that apparently remembering this creature isn't something that's easy for people to do. So that's more information. The fact that you can't remember it is a bit of information that you have discovered.
Yeah, I would make a note of that as well.
And well, Smiglicus, I think I'm rounding through some books here. Oh, hey, I found these two. These look interesting. I'm gonna check this out later. Dibs, call dibs. I'll share it later. There's no way I wasn't gonna do that.
They're really good, guys. If you haven't picked up Curie's books, they're really good. So yeah, that's done. Anyone else have anything that they want to do before you guys get to this? This is Skywell.
Reggie honestly hasn't been doing much. Pretty much throughout these entire days, he would keep to entertaining all of the passengers with his music, just to kind of keep everyone's like spirits up after literally all of the trauma that has happened.
Okay.
There happened a... Yes?
I was wondering, because I know you were gone for one, and then for the session before that, there was something. Reggie was acting a little... Is Reggie still acting weird?
At this time, no.
Does he still look normal?
Yes.
Okay. Out of character question. Suspected don't know nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there happened like one or two nights during this week when coming from the cargo hold very softly would be like sad music coming from his corner. But that's pretty much it.
One thing you would have noticed as you were performing for the refugees, as you played, they didn't seem to really react to your music almost at all, to the point where every so often you would intentionally play wrong notes to see if they were able to hear it, and most of them didn't react to the wrong notes at all.
Jeez. They are clean slates.
Well, there might be slowly getting the memories back, or else it might be trauma.
Yeah,
Wherever they're going, they're
possibly.
gonna have to get help.
If I remember correctly, when we were on the island, they shut down any and all music, so they probably
Yeah.
don't know
They
what it is.
did.
You're right.
Well, sometimes music can affect memory.
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
that's why.
Other than that, that's pretty much all I've been doing.
I would say, knowing
And
Reggie, I would assume you probably had a little bit of fun with the fact that they couldn't hear you playing sometimes.
Actually, Reggie would have been a little not insulted, but definitely a little more concerned considering everything that happened on the island. So if anything, he would be more pitying to the passengers.
Oh. And we've been like obviously steering the shit to where it needs to go, right?
Yeah, like you guys have had no problem.
Well, I can alternate with Reggie.
Sounds good.
You guys have had no problem for finding where you need to go, and now that you actually had a map that had Seaston Village on it, you could actually plot a much more direct course back to this as a Skywell. The last time you guys were out here, you were basically searching for something that was uncharted, so you had to go on a really weird kind of search pattern course as opposed to just going directly to where you wanted to go. So
I think at some point, Smegwick's at the wheel, and he has and suddenly we're getting our memories back. A big cloud just kind of like does a puff on the veil, and he just suddenly remembers the giant veil serpent. Ah! Oh, that was a crap memory to come back. Oh.
I will say for Smegwick specifically, with the rest of your memories coming back, your dreams have been... first of all, you've been dreaming every single night, which is not something that is normal for Smegwick.
I mean, about as normal as me.
And the dreams have been that memory that you had of being in the room and being tied down to the table and having the person come in, and it's the same memory every single to the time, and it always cuts to black at the exact same place. Comes in, looks at you, and seems to be about to say something, and then it's off.
I think I would also Smegwick would definitely at one point he would have started writing this down in his little journal. The other question is, do we know through charts, or do we have to wait till we get back to Skywell to know how long were we on the island, or how long we were gone? I should say, since we initially left Skywell, now we're returning.
You'll have to wait until you're actually at this as a Skywell.
Okay.
Lord.
From as far as you can tell, you've been gone for maybe about 2 or 3 weeks, based on the actual time that you spent on the island and that. However, again, there are large pieces of your memory that are missing.
Yeah, exactly.
And you wouldn't exactly know how long, how much time happened between when you were rendered unconscious on the ship and when you woke up on the island. So once you get to the Skywell itself, you'll be able to actually find out the date and everything. So, anything else before you guys get to the Skywell?
I'm good.
Okay.
I think I would have been Smegwick would have been hey, he would have been checking in on everyone because I know things would be weird. Zarian's new. Aui's relative was almost, is the second newest at this point.
Yeah.
You okay, kid?
Yeah, I'm alright.
All right. I guess it's that kind of awkward trip. It's an awkward point in the long drive where it's just no one says anything. They're listening to a podcast or something.
Yeah.
This is good. I'm right. Who's ready for this one?
So, when you guys do eventually get to the Skywell, not a ton has changed since you were there the last. You do notice at this particular point, the Skywell doesn't have a ton of a dock space. Because it's just not used a lot. There's maybe a dozen docks on the entire station. And anytime they have more ships than docks available, the ships effectively just kind of sail around the Skywell in a holding pattern. And so the first thing that you guys notice as you get there is you are kind of flagged down by a patrolling ship. Who informs you as they get close. They send one of their people over who just misty steps onto your ship and tells you all that you'll need to be in a holding pattern for the next 3 hours as they get a dock ready for you.
Alright.
Is this normal? Is this...
For the Skywell, no. Again, generally... the Skywell is not used very much, and generally if you are ever in a holding pattern, it means that either a large expedition is going out into the Southern Outlands, or a large expedition has just come back.
Does the person who came to inform us look like they're Skywell?
Yeah. They
Okay.
There's no uniform or anything for the people in this Skywell.
Well, if I'm suddenly seeing Tempest Sovereignty for some reason, that would have been a radar. Okay.
Most definitely this is not a sovereignty person. The ship that they're on, calling it a ship is being a bit generous.
Junk boat.
Kind of, it basically it's a little bit better than
A Veil dinghy.
Yeah, it's effectively a little dinghy. It would not be able to travel very far from a large ship. Like, this is the kind of ship that would be attached to a larger ship for going ashore or something like that. So, this is the food that food eats. So yeah, what were you gonna say, Reggie?
Well, I was just going to say, Reggie, I'm assuming he's at the helm this time. He just kind of like waves over to the guy in the dinghy and goes like, "Hail, good sir, we'll hold off where you need us."
Yeah.
And just kind of acknowledge like, "Hey, we hear you.
Mhm.
We'll do what the situation demands."
So yeah, as you guys,
Smegwick would have actually asked him, like, "Hey, why so busy? Is there an expedition going out or something?"
make a persuasion check for me.
I will use my new ability to give you +5 to that roll because I can.
Thank you. I rolled a 2, so that's
Yeah.
that's a 7. That's +5. You said.
Yep.
That's 12.
So he kind of looks at you and he just goes, just we'll be ready for you in a couple of hours here. All right. So see you in a few hours, and then he disappears again.
Yeah.
And I'll roll an insight check to see how that guy was acting. Like, was
Sure.
he avoiding? Was he
Sure.
avoiding the question?
While he's doing that, could I do a perception check as I look beyond our ship at the Skywell to see if there's any activity that would reflect that something big is going down?
Sure.
Second 2 of the game. That's an 8.
8. Yeah, even with an 8, bare minimum, he didn't hear your question. And because you speak very loud, you think he ignored your question. Beyond that, you don't know.
All right. For my perception, I rolled not a nat 20, but it's a dirty 20.
Looking around, kind of the first thing you notice that seems strange is you're being asked to go into a waiting pattern, effectively. There's no one else waiting right now.
Oh, we don't see anyone at the docks.
You guys aren't
if we're
actually
circling.
close enough. You guys aren't actually close enough to the docks to see them.
Oh, even if we're circling?
Yeah, you're not like right next to the Skywell. You are far enough out that it will still take you 10 to 15 minutes to sail into a dock from there, because it gives them plenty of time for, especially if they have really large, like sovereignty size ships. It gives them plenty of space. So your waiting pattern is well outside the visible range of the docks themselves. Most of the docks are covered.
Oh, okay.
So it's generally safer this far out to have covered docks and things like that. Generally, you don't see just, planks going out into the Vale off of stations in general. That's normally a land-based thing. Because the stations have to move and everything, having exposed planks and things like that for docks is just a recipe for things breaking off. So, yeah, you can't physically see the docks themselves, and again, you're still a few miles away from the Skywell. So you can see the Skywell pretty well, but you don't see the docks themselves.
Quick question. Smeckwick will post the crew, and also he'll see if he gets the sense from our passengers. Are they going to be mentioning the island they came from, or are they going to be keeping that a secret?
Good question.
Hmm.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, it's not like the island's bad anymore. Aside from the church, I guess.
I mean, there was the old crew was experimented on. I don't know if they'd be too keen on being found out. And I don't know about the people that chose to stay there, so I don't know if they're. I guess I don't know if the people that are with us.
So the ones that are with you basically said the conversation they had was they would be willing to basically mention that they'd been through some stuff, they had been lost, they're found now, but they weren't going to go into any specifics.
I agree, especially if, old captain's back on there. At least protect her old crew.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, because if that's what they're going to stick to, I think we'll just go along with their story as well. That way, because it doesn't matter if we're going to keep a secret if they're all going to talk, but if they're not going to talk, then it makes it easier for us too.
Yeah, I agree.
I could just straight up ask them what their plan is once we land.
I would assume that's what you guys did. That's what they said to you.
Oh.
So
Okay.
their plan is they'll say they were lost, they were shipwrecked for a while. These guys, you guys found them, and they were able to hobble together 2 other ships from the various wrecks, and that's all they're willing to say.
And we'll just be like, well, we were way out there. We don't know where that island is. We were lucky to find a way back.
So, as you guys go into your holding pattern, is there anything you guys want to do while you're waiting, or any preparations you want to make before you actually get onto this Skywell itself?
No, Zarian will wait until we don't have any passengers to discuss future plans.
Same here.
So a few hours pass, and you guys eventually get the all clear to come in. And as you come into the Skywell itself, you come into, remarkably enough, the same dock that you left from, because it just so happened to be the one that was open. And as you come in, the first thing you notice is the dockmaster is not the same dockmaster you talked to before. The old dockmaster is very laid back, very casual, but the dockmaster you see here, Smegwick, you would recognize immediately, has had military training at the very least. The way that he stands, the way that he speaks to you, and then the just kind of the way that he asks for your papers and everything like that is standard military sovereignty operating procedure.
Hey, but I was just like, whatever we need to present. I don't know.
Yeah,
If we
exactly.
Yeah.
I need your papers. I need to know where you've come from, your purpose for docking, and where you intend to go, and how long you intend to stay.
I think Smegwick is just as like, do I speak up or does someone else speak up?
Quickly now, I have many other docks
Oh, God.
to take care of.
We were out on an expedition. We have some people here. Long story short, there was islands out in the distance there, super dangerous, shipwreck, survivors. We're transporting them back here, and then that's the other ships. They've been through some stuff, and we were being good Samaritans and helping them out get back here to Skywell.
And you see him as you say that, you see him kind of scowl for a little bit, and he takes out a little kind of notepad and makes some notes.
Hey,
How many additional passengers will you be bringing upon the station today?
Well, I mean, there's the ships over there, which I'm sure they're going to be handling.
Yes, we will deal with them
there.
later.
And-
I'm specifically asking about your ship.
Okay, and Smegwick gives the number.
Okay.
What happened to the other guy who used to be here? He's like,
Unfortunately, we are not quite prepared for that many additional embarkees. They will have to stagger their embarking, and they will not be able to stay here for the time being. They will have to book passage to one of the cities, or Vox's Landing, or anywhere other than here. You see him making additional notes, and then he kind of gives you your docking bill. Before any of you can come aboard the station, you must pay your fees. In order to pay your fees, I will be in the office right over there. Come to me, pay your fees, and I will give you clearance for the rest of your crew to embark. No more than 8 at a time. Thank you. And he walks over back to the kind of main dock office.
I wait until he gets back in his office, and I just go, well, he seems like a charming fellow.
you beat me right to it. I was thinking the same thing.
Can I do just like another perception check, just a general, like, I look to my left and my right to see just how active it is on this island right now?
No check is necessary. The docks are empty. It's not that the docks are slow, the docks are empty.
Was this guy a plainclothes cop? Can I hear an insight check? I don't know, because you told me he had a military background. I was like,
he's gone now.
As far as you can tell, like I said, everything he did is directly out of a military, out of the Sovereignty playbook. From your specific background, you have answered these questions before for ships that you've traveled on.
But no one's ever had to stick up their butt over on this station before.
No, the Skywell is one of the most casual places ever. Again, the last time you were there, the guy almost forgot to ask you to pay your dock fees. Like, it's very, very little laid back. And again, the Skywell is not a massive station. But again, it is the last bit of civilization before the Outlands. So most of the people that come here are either crazy because they're going into uncharted space, or they are adventurers, which could be reclassified as crazy depending on their adventuring status.
Desperate is like a subcategory on both.
Yeah. So yeah, you've never seen this on the Skywell before specifically. So.
And how many did we have on our ship, excluding us?
You had about 2 to 25.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And he's only allowing a total of 8, including us.
Yes.
Which I think
onto the ship.
Gerald will-
Wow.
I think somehow he'll count Gerald, so probably have to leave him behind. Otherwise, we'll only be able to bring 3. But something's up. How long were we gone?
Yeah, this is not usual.
2. What is going on? We need to get some answers. We'll have to let them know that.
Yeah, we have to tell the people.
All right, I'll go ahead and tell our fine passengers. So Reggie gets back on the ship and starts like not casually, but gently spreading the word like, hey, something's going down on the island. Only 4 of you are going to be able to come with us because they're only allowing 8 at a time off the ship. Is there anyone who has a pressing need to stretch their legs?
They seem remarkably calm about the whole situation. Something about being told what to do for years of their life previously. Okay.
That makes me less calm.
They kind of talk amongst themselves, and they basically elect 4 people to go on to the station for them to basically scout out things and make arrangements and things for them to eventually leave this station.
All right, you got your 4? I guess it's follow the leader. Come with me.
Before we leave the ship, I will quickly use one of my magical tinkerings to record the master's away. They'll be back shortly, and just hand it to Gerald and command him that if anyone approaches the ship to press that button and play that message every time.
Awesome.
It's that big red Staples button.
Yeah, pretty much.
So as you guys start to step off the boat, immediately this guy comes back. Perhaps I was unclear. No one on your crew will be allowed to disembark until you've paid your docking fees.
We will come to pay the fees.
Paid your fees yet, I must ask the rest of your crew remain on the ship until the fees are paid. You may send 1 representative to the office to pay your fees. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Wonderful. And he walks back to the office.
All right, why don't you let me handle this one?
No light comes out, but like Smegway's just like, well, I mean, I have I'm presuming it better be the same fee as last time. I'm also presuming we have.
Well, you have the bill, right? What does it say?
The bill itself is
2 gold.
Last time it was 2 gold. This time it is 16.
Jeez.
Because of all the people.
Well, they itemized everything. You notice the cost of docking has increased. At
Skywell.
The cost of renting the dock itself for any period of time is about quadrupled in price. And the 16 that you're paying here is actually only for using it for 6 hours.
God, it's like a hospital here.
They're price gouging us, and it's like, Reggie, you're gonna have to talk to him before we're paying.
And then the rest of the additional fees are the fact that instead of 4 or 5 people coming aboard, you have close to 30. So,
but still, this is like at Skywell, and they're charging like way more than they've ever had.
Oh, significant. You've not paid this much at Vox's Landing, which is run by money. Like this is exorbitantly priced.
I mean,
Yeah, is it like 16 gold each?
No, 16 gold for the ship.
Okay.
Megwick brought up a good point. Do we have the money? Because I have no gold on me. The captain never paid me because
we have we did have the group fund since I was the quartermaster, and I have that.
Yep.
I'm presuming we have that, or else we're in trouble.
Yes.
I also have my own gold because I got the noble background.
And you guys did get paid, not for this most recent one, but you did get paid for your previous. I don't know how much gold you have left from your previous job.
Well, we had the courier job, that we had a 500 bonus, Reggie's armor, and docking fee expense, and that was it.
Okay, so whatever you have left from that, you would have as well. But this most recent job didn't pay, unfortunately.
Yeah. So we do have gold. Okay. So.
And again, if you guys decide that you want to stay for more than, or you want to have your ship there for more than 6 hours, they're going to charge you additional fees.
Okay, we gotta sell this quick.
Because this is nothing. This has never happened before ever. This is ridiculous. You're gonna have to see what you can do about talking down prices across the board.
All right, I'll definitely.
And don't forget your support pet. Spitwit lands on your shoulder.
Okay. I reach into my bag and I give him like a tiny little biscuit that I took from like the food boxes down to the cargo bay. I have my own little.
He tries to bite your finger.
Hey! We talked about this.
You get a mental image of, and then mental image of his eyes, and then you see a cutout head of Smegwick through his eyes. It's like, get with the program, Reggie.
All right. You say this guy's military. You have experience in this field. Have you ever encountered people like him before?
Stick up the butt, yeah, but never out here at Skywell. Something is up. It's like they're charging way too much for this kind of thing. It's hinky. I don't know what's going on.
This is definitely hinky indeed.
That sounds very fishy.
From your own experiences, Smegwick, your first interaction with this person would be that they are the equivalent of like a butter bar. I think second lieutenant is the rank normally, where they are literally the lowest officer rank possible. They have the least amount of authority that they can have, but they are still an officer, so they can give orders and they can...
Jody,
what?
Did you give us Arnold Jonas Rimmer?
No, not yet. But it's the term butter bar is a at least when my dad was in the service, was a derogatory term, because the second lieutenant rank insignia is 2 bars that are gold, and they call it butter bar because they are fresh. They're generally, they don't understand how to lead or anything. They're right out of officers training school and everything like that. Like they are super wet behind the ears. In general, you get my understanding from United States military is you generally get your first promotion within like 6 months to a year as an officer. So you don't stay a second lieutenant very long.
Yeah.
This guy takes
this information.
He takes his job way too seriously.
But that kind of feeling, not so much the rank itself, but that kind of feeling of someone that has just been given authority and doesn't understand how to use it.
But takes his job way too seriously.
Yeah, very, very much so. It's a really common thing with anyone that's been given. New managers are another group that will act that exact same way. They will stick to the book, and they will cite rules and regulations into the things like that. It's how it is. So that's the image that you get, is just someone brand new to command in a position of authority that they really shouldn't have.
So what if he taking his commands from the top brass?
You guys don't know. I'm just saying from Smegwick's
the vibe.
Yeah, you would be used to dealing with people like that. And again, depending on where they were, if you were in the sovereignty itself, they could do very, very well. If you were actually on the front, their life expectancy was exceedingly low. So,
all right. So we know
not always from the enemy.
Okay, so we know he's military, massive stick in the mud. This is definitely not normal, especially for a place like the Skywell here.
And
are there any
as
other...
far as you know, he has our Smegwick is relatively certain he has military training. As far as him being active member, there's nothing on him that would indicate that he is a part of the sovereignty at all.
Oh.
Okay.
Also, appeal. Surely, if he's going to be regulation, surely there's things about rescuing people. Surely there's got to be something about that too.
Sure, and if you want to bring that up in your discussions, you're more than welcome to.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling Reggie.
Well, now, all right then. Now, how do you think we should play this? Should we go for more like charming to his sense of justice, or should I go more intimidating?
I feel like either one would end with bigger fees.
Yeah.
Appeal to his position and see if he's the one that has the power to help us.
Yeah.
Oh.
That might be the way to go.
Now I actually got one final question. This is Evan asking and not Reggie.
Okay.
Because I feel like for how long they've traveled, Reggie would know this, but I actually don't know this. Since Smegwick's got Spitwick on Reggie's shoulder, is Smegwick able to like communicate anyway through Spitwit to Reggie? Like, can they use Spitwit as a phone or something?
Well,
not really with you. Like Smegwick would be able to. Smegwick would effectively be able to hear everything you're saying and communicate with Spitwick. Spitwick doesn't really have a way to communicate with you beyond giving you images and feelings is how he communicates. So he wouldn't be able to talk with you.
He can give simple thoughts, ideas, images, that kind of thing, but beyond, there's no verbal.
Yeah, he doesn't technically speak a language, so
he understands.
So there is a way for like messages to be conveyed. It's just very rough.
Effectively, Smegwick can see and hear everything that Spitwick does. So theoretically, anything you want Smegwick to know, he will know. As far as him letting you know anything, he would have to do something like a message spell or something similar to that, because Spitwick is not really going to be able to give you much information.
No. That's all good to know. I just need that cleared up for me. All right.
Yes.
All right then. Let's get this show on the wood. Reggie just kind of flexes fingers, rolls his neck, kind of hops up and down a little bit, looks up to Spitwick. You ready?
Good
All right.
luck.
All right, let's do this.
So
and Reggie walks into the office.
As you walk in, another thing that seems very, very bizarre. You probably didn't do a ton of interacting the last time you were here, because that's something more along the line the quartermaster would deal with. But as you come in, the office is pristine. There are no papers out of place. There are lots of clean surfaces. There's no dust in here. Like, the office looks very, very nice. Which is another thing that seems just very, very out of place in the Skywell.
Okay, before I walk through that door, I would just like to point out I have like a small bag with like clinking coins in it. So it's like, at least I want the person to know that I am coming in here and I am prepared to pay.
Okay.
As Reggie walks through the door, he just kind of like notices all this. The first thing he says is, well, my, you've certainly cleaned up this place the last time I was here.
We generally, we do not allow familiars in sensitive areas. So unfortunately, I'm going to ask you to leave your familiar outside.
Unfortunately, you will have to forgive me, good sir. This here's my seeing eye familiar. I took a bad injury to my left eye right here. I can actually not see very well. He acts as my other eye. So unfortunately, you will have to forgive me on this.
Spitwit will assist because he can do that. He's going to like...
Go ahead and make me a deception check. I'm going to make it a flat roll simply because you would have disadvantage on that lie, but Spitwick is helping.
Okay, so just a straight roll.
Just a straight roll.
He's patting his head. He's like...
That is a dirty 20.
Okay. So he looks at you and... You guys have this really brief bit of communication between the two of you that happens in an instant. He knows you're full of shit. You know that he knows you're full of shit. Neither one of you is going to bring up the fact that was a bold-faced lie, and you're both just going to kind of deal with the fact that you lied. Like, he's looking at you and he's like, so the fees are 16 gold.
Prove him wrong, you son of a bitch.
You didn't fool him at all, but he just has kind of accepted the fact that, okay, this is our relationship. So because the fees are 16 gold pieces.
Periodically, the crew's just going to see Smegwick because he can't see or hear them, and they know this because this is before. And he's like, periodically, you'll see Smegwick just go, and he's just flipping off and this light just going back.
I'm gonna bet there's a lot of crew in the back just going like, what the hell is he doing?
Wait, yeah, is Smegwick guy like telling
Occasionally you just hear like, occasionally just every so often you just hear, what an asshole!
They're not quite sure if you're watching something really enjoyable or really upsetting. So he's sitting there looking expectantly at you.
Reggie just kind of like has the small pouch of gold, kind of like tosses it in his hand. He walks up to the desk and is about to set it on the desk, but he stops just short of it, and he just pulls back and goes, 16 gold. That is what you said, correct?
Yes, we itemized the list on your bill. If you have any questions, all of the fees there are standard fees at any dock in the Sovereignty.
You see, that is a mighty strange thing. We were actually here not that quite long ago, and we were wondering, was there a recent change of management? Because the last time we were here, the total fees that we had to pay were only 2 gold.
Well, I cannot speak for the former person who held this office. I can tell you that it was done very poorly. I have been put in place here to ensure that the Skywell runs effectively, and these are the fees that we have decided are appropriate. Due to the high volume of service, a few of the fees have increased for the time being. If you are willing to wait for, let's see, and you see him just start doing calculations, 6 to 12 months, the fees may go down slightly.
Specifically regarding that entire portion of what he said regarding like the high volume of in and out traffic here, I want to insight check that.
Go for it.
Okay, insight.
Oh, and I should point out, when you did the perception check for the docks, there were no people on the docks, but all the docks that you could see had ships in them. Relatively
so
large
there were
ships.
So there were ships, but in terms of actual people, this guard is the only person we've seen there.
Yeah, as far as actual living humanoids, this guard is it, or this dockmaster, if effectively, is it. But there were ships. There were big ships, ships like you guys are effectively right now the smallest ship on the docks.
So this is practically a ghost dock?
Not really. I mean, the ships themselves look current and everything. There's just nobody on any of the ships that you can see.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in terms of that insight check, I rolled a 15.
15. You're relatively certain he believes everything he just said. There's nothing that he said, either in his word choice or in body language, that would indicate that he was lying in any way.
You're going to get a mental image.
He did seem to be choosing his words carefully. But definitely there was no lie.
You'll see a mental image of a bunch of people on a ship getting off and like going like that.
No, I get the signal, and that's when I just kind of lean a bit closer. I don't put my hands on the desk, but I do lean a bit closer so he can like see my eyes, and I just go, "Listen, we've been traveling for such a very long time, and may just ask, we have a lot of refugees, a lot of poor, hungry refugees, and I think it would look great to your superiors if you would just let things not slide, but definitely just kind of lighten the load a little bit. Wouldn't you want to be the one who became the first safe haven for so many refugees that so many people were thought long lost and dead? Who knows how many months, maybe even years these people have been out there for so long. You would be a hero."
You do notice something very interesting, something that you haven't dealt with in years at this point, which is
me personally, or just like me and the crew
Reggie,
in general.
You Reggie personally, which is someone that you are speaking to that is completely ignoring everything that you're saying.
Jesus!
It's not that they're not hearing or anything, but everything that you've just said, it is obvious to you that it has not just fallen on deaf ears. You have basically been talking to a brick wall. And from your own experiences, this generally happens when you're dealing with someone that actually doesn't have any authority. whatsoever. That they have literally been told exactly what they can and cannot do. It's an extremely common thing to deal with in high society, where they will specifically, especially for negotiations, they will send someone that is told specifically what they can and cannot do, so that during negotiations, they can't be influenced, because they literally have no authority to change the offer. So it's been a very long time since you've dealt with someone like this, but it is blatantly obvious to you about halfway through that spiel that this person didn't choose what to charge you and couldn't change the fees if they
He
wanted
to.
Which is an indication that someone relatively conniving is in control here, because this is a negotiation tactic. It's a very effective one in certain situations.
I just kind of. Oh wait, sorry.
I was about to say it also can be used as an insult amongst nobility, to send someone that is not able to negotiate, simply to tell them you're not worth negotiating with.
Listen, and like everything you just said, this is like everything you've just said. Reggie knows from this interaction, right? Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
You're again, from your own experiences with high society, my understanding, you didn't do a lot of negotiation or anything beyond negotiating your own fees, but you know high society. You existed in it for a while, and so you have seen this. And yeah, generally, if this was to happen to a noble, where a noble came to a negotiation and they got someone like this, it was effectively slapping them in the face and telling them you are not worth the time to negotiate with. It was considered a grave insult.
Listen, good sir. I've spoken to people like you before. I've eaten with you type of people. I've broken bread with you type of people. And I've seen all manner of types, thinking that what you've been told is going to be the impermeable, invincible defense. And at that moment, Reggie just kind of like leans on the table more. And now he's like putting both hands on it. And during this time, he's going to use minor illusion to make both his eyes glow like a little bit brighter blue. Now, listen to me. You may have such a nice little defense of words, but it is also the only thing that makes you even faintly visible to me right now. Now then, I am more than willing to do business, but it's not going to be with you. As I've said, I dealt with people like you before, but it's quite obvious that you, my dear good sir, are a puppet. You are a paper bag.
And right as you say paper bag, the door behind you opens, and 3 very large people walk in. And the one in the front goes, "Is there a problem here?" And the guy sitting behind the desk just kind of sits back and kind of motions for you to continue. Again, not even looking smug about it. He just kind of...
I take this moment to turn my body to glance behind me, and I'm hoping Spitwit sees what I'm seeing.
It's going to mirror you. He's mirroring you just to keep up the premise.
Gonna ask, how far away is the office? Would we have seen them walk in?
You would have seen the 3 guys kind of appear out of nowhere. They didn't like magically appear, but they just kind of walked from an area that seems relatively concealed from all of the ships. And you watch them just very nonchalantly walk out and go directly to the bar. Everyone except, obviously, Smegwick, because he can't see anything from where he is right now.
But I know they're there because Spitwit's there.
Once you turn, yeah. Oh, and you would have heard the... Is there a problem?
I'm looking at these guys. What do they look like?
We got 3 heavies.
They look big. They look really, really big. Um,
Are they human? Are they Are they like Goliaths? Like, what are these things? Just out of curiosity.
Looking them over, as far as the race is concerned, the two in the back are fire genasi, which
Oh.
is a bit unique to see here. And then the one in the middle is a tiefling. But they're all
Ooh.
very, very large. Even for, like, genasi in general, physical-wise, are very similar to humans, where they're about the same size. They range from anywhere between about 5'6" to maybe like 6'2", 6'3". These guys are easily 6'4". Big, large chests, large muscles, and then the tiefling again is relatively normally to a human. He's easily 6'7", 6'8", one of the tallest tieflings you ever seen, and is just pure muscle.
Yeah.
Which is
and
another
tief-
thing that's kind of unique for tieflings. They tend to be a little bit more lithe, and this one is not. This one, poured all his points into strength. Looks like, because
2 Genasi and a Tiefling, and they are yoked.
you would immediately notice that all three of them do have weapons, and they are clubs,
Okay.
which seems strange. I mean, as far as weapons you could be carrying, there are a lot more deadly weapons, more useful weapons than clubs. They're literally just carrying what looks like billy clubs, maybe even close to belaying pins.
So they're not really. They don't really even seem like guards to me. They seem more like just thugs.
They,
Wow,
other
yeah.
than the fact that they're standing in
Yes.
formation, they seem very thuggish. But they're standing at attention. They're standing in formation, so they're operating together. They're not in uniform, and their weapons are sticks. Effectively, they are heavy sticks.
All right.
I think the next mental image you would probably get from Smegwick to Spitwit to you would be like, higher up negotiate. Higher up, you see a picture of like a person above this jerk. Question mark.
With
And-
wings,
and-
it goes higher up.
While Spitwood looks at me, Spitwood would look at me like Reggie just kind of nods his head like, yeah, I get it. And Reggie just kind of like, guy at his desk is right here. 3 thugs are right here. Reggie's now like looking this direction, where he's just kind of like looking between the two. And he goes, gentlemen, as I was still saying to this god right here, before I was so rudely interrupted, I was merely going to ask that I wish to speak to the man in charge.
As you say that, one of the genasi in the back takes out a wand and points it at you.
Oh shit.
And you feel kind of strange. And then he kind of puts it away. Just a cantrip, sir.
I quickly like feel my face and I look at myself.
Does Smegwick
Seems
know
fine.
what this guy did?
Smeg, you would probably recognize a wand of detect magic.
Ooh.
Because Reggie made his eyes a different color.
You used a cantrip to change your eyes.
I-
You used minor
I-
illusion,
I used minor illusion,
which is a cantrip, but
Yeah.
but nothing else about me has happened.
no, you
Okay.
you would probably recognize a wand of detect magic as well.
All right.
Literally, he just wanded you. He just went.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, and Reggie just kind of goes, apologies for that. I do happily admit that I can get a little abrasive at sometimes. However, my request still stands. I wish to speak to the man in charge, the one who set these exorbitant prices that just seem so out of place here, especially since me and my crew and our band of survivors had traveled so far, and we're just looking for a little rest.
Well, if you would like to speak to the man in charge, pay your fees, and then one of your party members can go and talk with him. Until you pay your fees, you will stay on your ship, and your ship will not leave until you pay your fees, or we remove goods in the amount of your fees. Now, it seems that you have brought along payment. Why don't you pay? And perhaps if this person in charge you seem to want to speak to decides that you have been overcharged, they can reimburse you. I do not make the rules, I simply follow them. As will
Yes.
Image
Yes.
in Reggie's head, this guy, his head has been replaced with a mound of shit. He's got the shit emoji in place of his head, and then and Smegma is just relaying, fucking pay it.
Yes.
Shakedown.
Yes. I always know someone who only knows when to follow. And at that moment, he puts away the bag, because I'm assuming that's the bag of gold that was taken from, like, the quartermaster's chest. He pulls out his own personal bag of gold, counts out 16 coins one at a time.
Do it in copper.
But then just as a little added measure, wait, actually, hold on. Do I even have one of these things?
It's always fun. It was like, wait, do I have this?
Crap, I don't. I thought because I had the noble background, I could take, like, off my little nobleman's ring and, like, put it on it as, like, a sign to say, like, hey, I want to talk to someone.
He doesn't care.
Again, you're relatively certain that while that would be an effective way to get a message across to some people, you're relatively certain that would not do anything to this person. Again, this person is little more than a computer program. They get certain input, they give certain output, and that's it. And anything outside of their quote-unquote program, the things that they've been told to do, they will just ignore.
Right. Count out 16 gold, and then I just lean back over. Tell your supervisor that some of figures of high society wish to speak to him. One, Reginald Masterson Aberdeen Miles III. I'll be waiting for him. And then I leave and then I just push right past the thugs and I walk out the door.
As you make contact with them, they tense up for a second and then move. And you realize that had they chosen not to move, you were not moving them.
Oh.
These are very, very heavy people.
Spitwit, as you're walking away, Spitwit looks behind, looks at the guy, and just goes.
Those of you watching from the ship, you watch as the three guys go and kind of disappear into their little out of sight area.
Whoever is running this place is running this place like it's a racket, a shakedown. They were threatening to lock us down until we paid. They wouldn't even let us leave.
While Reggie was in there discussing, can I look at the other ships to see if there's any kind of emblems, signage, anything that signifies where they're from?
Sure. Make me I'll let you choose investigation or history.
Oh, investigation. That's plus 11 for me.
Okay.
Just because I really want to know, I'm going to use my flash of genius to make it higher before I roll.
Okay.
Oh, that's way overkill. That's 36, nat 20.
Jesus Christ. Glad you two are rolling good. God.
Remind me of, so you're just really quickly going over your background. You're a cartographer, and you've have you worked? I don't think it was in your background that you sent me, but have you worked with? Have you been hired out on military things before, or have you worked entirely with civilians?
It would have been civilians who would have actively avoided military contracts.
Okay. Well, in that specific case, all of the ships that you see don't have any markings. Any markings whatsoever.
Oh.
Even the ship names themselves are not visible currently.
Oh.
And due to the fact that you have avoided entanglement with the Sovereignty Marines and the things like that, this would be a huge red flag for you.
Ooh.
The fact that all of them are uniformly showing nothing that would identify them by anything generally indicates that this is some sort of undercover something. Whether it's the Sovereignty doing it or one of
Syndicate.
The
Oh,
various
God.
criminal groups, the fact that they are all equally impossible to place and figure out what they are indicates that this is whomever these ships belong to. All the ships that you see around you, which you can only see about 6 docks in this area. There's another dock on the other side of the skywall that would have the other 6 docks. So the remaining 5 ships that are docked in here are all part of the same group. And whatever group they are part of does not want anyone to know that they are part of this as the same group. Or at least does not want anyone to be able to prove it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I would relay that exact info to Smegwick once he's able to hear me. Because I like to think this entire time I was talking, not realizing he couldn't hear me. And then,
Yeah. I had that encounter with Reggie before, I'm guessing you're saying something, I didn't hear you.
So, when Reggie gets back and he kind of explains everything, you guys are all brought up to speed.
All right, now go back to your papa. Oh, you know it. Oh, you know what I mean. Fly back.
Flies back. And let's
So,
go. And the first words when you get back are, "What an asshole!"
Oh, right.
This place is a shakedown. Either
would-
this is Tempest Sovereignty or this is one of the crime syndicates. Either way, this is
then-
not good. We can't be here long.
Is
Oh,
there this entire dock location that we're structured in, that we're set in? Is there like a main looking tower or something, someplace that looks like a person of authority would be at?
Yeah, the dock office.
Oh, that's where I was just at.
Yeah,
Nothing
the
else?
place you just were. The way that this dock is basically set up is you have the 6 piers that each has a ship on it, and the dock itself is basically a giant kind of wedge, where the docks are circular, and each one actually has because it's a covered dock. Each one actually has its own exit from this place that actually has a very large door that can be shut. So all of you, you are in the 3rd position from the left of the docks, 3rd of 6. And then at the end, there's literally just a big old wall and a single set of double doors that lead out. They're really big, like 15-foot high, 20-foot wide doors, so that large cargo can get through. But that's it. It is literally just you're in a box effectively.
Jeez.
I would let Smegwick know what I found.
Yeah, this place is either this is Tempest Sovereignty shenanigans or this is a syndicate operation, and they're doing like a smuggling thing, going into some island thing or something.
I think we might need to act quickly on this, especially with how I was demanding to speak to someone in charge. Smegwick, my dear man, could you send your little...
nowhere.
No, think about it. After that little interaction I just had, I don't... Send your little friend
Reggie,
back to the...
Reggie, do you think you're the first person that popped off in the sky, or any of these other...
I'm not interested in what the conversation I had with him. I'm interested in what they're talking about right now after I left.
Oh.
Can your little dragon go invisible?
No.
I can cast invisibility on it.
We should probably go below deck before, just so they don't see us.
Good idea.
if you think you can do it, you up for that, buddy?
And
Mental
Reggie,
image that guy, and he's just like his two wings go.
Reggie, you would be aware that the three guys that went in there left with you and went back to. So currently, there's no one in the office with the dock master.
Yeah, but he might have some way of talking to someone still, or if it's just purely by himself.
Yep. No, that's perfectly fine. I was just they are
So
not
if-
having a conversation.
I would
If-
say
if he's-
Smegwick.
If he's by himself, I'm like, here's my thing. Look, I'm all for this clandestine stuff too. There's some hinky shit going on here.
What if
What are we gonna do about that? I don't see a lot. I think what we need to do is get our stuff and get the hell out of here,
Yeah. that might
and
be
hope they don't
safe.
gouge us too much on supplies.
Ooh.
they probably will? But I'm just really curious what those ships are. And if Spitwick's up for it, we can make him invisible and he can just fly by and check the windows.
Here's the thing. One, they already like that guy immediately sussed out that Spitty
Yeah.
was a familiar right off the bat.
Yeah.
Secondly, the three guys, they look like thugs. They're operating like they're not operating like gangsters. They're acting like thugs, so they have clubs, but they don't move like that. And they immediately popped out wands for detect magic by the thing. I fly
Yeah.
I fly Spitty over there. He's gonna get picked off.
All right, so I'll turn to the four people that were elected.
Mhm.
Are one of you okay staying behind? Because I think if push comes to shove, I'm gonna need this guy, and I'll point to Gerald.
And they kind of look at each other, and one of them goes, "Yeah, I can stay behind. That's fine."
I appreciate it.
And
Yeah,
you
well-
see him just kind of take out a piece of paper and write some stuff down. Just be sure to get those for me. And he gives it to one of the other people.
All right, let's go and figure stuff out.
What are we planning? Not for nothing, but what are we planning on doing?
I think at the very least get further in and see what the rest of the town's status is.
Let's go for supplies and see about that. I mean, worst case scenario, that's what we do.
Mm,
While we're trying to get a read on what's going on.
Agreed.
mm.
All right.
So we'll head towards further in town.
Yeah, so as you guys step off the ship and go to the actual doors of the dock to get to the station proper, nothing really happens. Again, as you come out, you have no idea where those three dudes went off to. You don't see them anywhere. And then as you get to the doors and they open, you can see the Skywheel itself actually has people going around. Like, it's not completely dead like the rest of it. But there's kind of a very kind of sullen atmosphere. No one is talking to each other. There are quite a few groups that are walking around in step with each other.
Oh God.
And then other smaller groups that are just kind of wandering around. You do recognize some people from the last time you were here, and Zarian, you would recognize some people because you were stationed and this was your home for a little while. You do recognize some faces wandering around, but you notice everyone that you recognize isn't making eye contact with anyone. Like, most people are just staring at the floor and walking where they need to go. And the kind of
Oh,
relaxed
my
atmosphere
God.
that you were used to here is gone. It's very, very tense.
Oh God.
I think at this point the only people who are going to talk to us are the ones we trade with. So
Yeah.
we'll go to either the tavern. Do you think, or should we go to like more of a general store?
Oh
Yeah,
God,
so-
is there even a tavern here now?
I mean, yeah, there is. I mean, it's right. Like, Spigwick would know like where that is, but like, general store supplies.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guys in charge are riding as the fun police, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it looks like it kind of feels like they formed a brood squad.
Yeah.
So, Zarian, you know the place pretty well. Finding a general store is not difficult. as far as what kind of store you were looking for, are you looking for somewhere where you can pick up rations and general stuff like that? Are you looking for like what specifically are you looking for as far as a general stores?
I guess first, with our limited time, I would ask the people who brought the list and what they need on their list. We'll go to that location first.
Okay. Well, they had a bunch of different things. Like one of them is going specifically to look for not only farming supplies and other things like that, but they were intending to see if they could make some contacts to get some work, possibly up in the northern reaches. So they were specifically looking for field work that they could get.
Okay, in that case, probably rations and stuff like that.
Okay. So yeah, you find a shop that sells a little bit of every thing, but tends to be a good place to get rations for a good price. And as you come in, you see a familiar face. He's a larger gentleman with a big old bushy mustache. As he comes in, he goes, "Oh, hello, Zarian. It's been a while since I've seen you. What might bring you to my shop today?"
Out of curiosity, how long has it been since you've seen me? Weird question, I know.
It's a good question. Well,
Do they have a
last
calendar?
time you were here would probably have been 2 months ago, maybe. It's been,
What's
been a
Zarian?
bit of time.
I left
that
when
like-
you guys did.
I don't know. I don't know when Zarian was here though.
Looking around, there is a calendar, and you guys see you were gone for approximately a month.
Well, 2 to 3 weeks. So
So, a month.
So that's
So
yeah,
you,
so-
you guys effectively lost about a week somewhere in there.
So it's an extra. So about an extra week. So that's not too bad considering what happened.
Yeah. Not like we come back, it's 100 years later. Like, ah!
Yeah.
So what exactly is going on? Like, why are the dock fees so high now?
Oh, well, technically, I
Got
don't
shut
know.
down.
I've been told that I don't know. But, since I know you as well as I do, there have been some new arrivals. Some group has decided there's something important in the Southern Outlands, and, well, they came with a lot of money, and well, quite a few people saw an opportunity to sell and maybe go somewhere else, and they decided to, and so within, I don't know, about a week, actually, they had purchased like 6 or 7 different shops here, and they just kept buying more things.
Oh,
And eventually they just owned enough of it that they were running the place. It was very bizarre.
If I may, good sir, did you ever happen to catch sight of who you don't know is in charge of all that?
The first business that they bought was a tannery, actually. So, the tannery now doesn't tan anything, doesn't really do much of anything anymore. They've converted it into sort of an office space, so if you were thinking to talk to whomever is in charge of all this, that might be a nice place to start. I can tell you from my own experiences, they're not a particularly talkative group. Though, if you give them their space, they're polite enough. They pay well. I've never haggled with me. They don't really cause anyone any trouble.
unless you try to dock here.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
They took over the docks mostly out of necessity more than anything else. Our old docks master, he wasn't quite ready for the volume. They have close to 3 or 4 dozen ships in and out every day.
where are they going?
That's a good question. I'm not quite sure. You know,
'Cause
I
we have-
believe They, instead of the normal holding pattern that everyone else has to follow, they have their own little area to the northwest where they keep all their ships in a flotilla. Far enough away that no one really sees them. But
Whoever these people are, they got themselves a whole fleet.
effectively, yes.
And they don't
My-
care about refugees. We rescued like how many people?
25 on our ship and a bunch more on the other two.
Well,
And they're just stranded now.
before you judge them too harshly, I don't think it's that they don't care. From every interaction I've had with them, they seem to be a caring bunch. However, they have a very specific thing to do here, and I couldn't tell you what that is, but apparently it's getting very close to being about time for it to be done. They seem to be getting ready to leave, to the point where I barely have any rations to sell you. They've bought off most of my goods, and I won't get replacement supplies for another week here.
Have they also been controlling the mail by any chance?
Not particularly. They didn't even try, to be honest.
Okay.
They didn't attempt to purchase any of the mail services here, or
They put it another way. Has mail been going in and coming out?
to my knowledge, the Teamsters guild tends to take care of that, and they're not the kind of guild that can be bought. If you
So
know
the
what I
Teamsters,
mean.
so the Teamsters are still operating.
Yes, of course they are.
So we know that the Teamsters are still operating, and if anyone might know who's running this whole operation, there's
Talk
a
to
chance
them.
it's either that or the tannery, because the tannery was the first place that they bought here.
Here's my thing: if you want to know what's going on the ground, you go to the people who used to work there. Because we didn't see a lot of like actual workers working the docks, did we?
No.
No.
Talk to the Teamsters.
Teamsters it is.
And after that, I recommend we do something foolish and attempt to work with them in favor of getting more people off our boats.
And seeing if maybe they can hook us up with supplies too to get out of here.
That, and if we agree to accept a job without payment in exchange to get them off our boat so they can get to safety,
Oh yeah, I mean, they don't seem to be interested in they seem really interested in shaking people down. But aside from that,
yeah, they don't strike me as like evil, I guess, for lack of a better word. Just
But there's clearly
Neanderthal.
someone running this show who cares purely on whatever they're doing and literally nothing else.
I say we go there, go to the tannery. We'll be back. Thank you.
Not a
Good.
problem, Zarian.
we're going to the
Is
tannery.
your other half with you? It's kind of odd to see you not traveling with Lucky.
Uh,
Even Spitwit is.
he kind of fell overboard, and there's that.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear. Wait a moment. And you see him kind of go into the back, and he comes out with a small kind of trinket. It's not much, but Lucky once thought it was amusing. You know, if he has gone on, then well, with my condolences, I'm very sorry. And he gives you this kind of clockwork dog.
Aw.
Thank you.
He was a good man.
Still maybe. He's kind of doesn't happen often, but he's lost in the clouds somewhere.
And he just looks kind of confused.
He goes like off somewhere. He went somewhere.
Well, if you need anything, and he kind of pats you on the back, feel free to ask.
And now just more distractions, and I walk out.
Right. So go ahead.
I'm the last one out, and I say to him, "Thank you so much. You've been the most helpful person we've seen in a long time." I give him 1 gold.
And he sits there. He's like, "Well, isn't that lovely? Tell you what. As it seems this is one of your first visits here, and you seem to be such a polite young lady that you are." He kind of goes back. and he comes back out. This is a bit of a delicacy. You can't find them anywhere else. And he brings out this little kind of, it looks very similar to a meringue.
Ooh.
And he goes, try that. You'll probably love it.
Aw.
They sell them at the bakery about 4 doors down. But since you were so kind, I thought you might enjoy it.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sure I will. And I walk out to join them.
Okay. So as you guys come out, again, Zarian, you would know that the tannery he was referencing is effectively on the other side of the station. So it'll take a good 20 minutes to get there in this kind of traffic. But it's not difficult to get there. Do you nibble on your meringue at all, or?
Yes, I do.
It's I don't know if you've had one. It's pure sugar, and it's a very nice. It's effectively the dry meringue, where it's very kind of crispy and powdery almost, but very well made. And in the very center of it, there is just this little bit of cinnamon sugar. So as you kind of bite into it, there's this little explosion of cinnamon flavor.
It's a gusher.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's dry, but
Oh,
have you ever had a meringue cookie? Oh, they're really
no,
good.
never.
No.
Basically, what a meringue is you take egg whites and sugar, and you whip them until they form really stiff peaks, and then if you
Yep.
bake them, there's a couple different ways to do it.
And you're having
Generally-
like a lemon meringue pie.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
it's the top of the
the
lemon
topping,
meringue.
and that kind of a meringue
Oh.
has kind of a crust on the outside and it's smooth on the inside. There's another kind of meringue that's called a dry meringue.
Oh, I just Googled these things. I have had these before. I never
They're
knew.
nice.
I never knew that's what they were called.
Yeah, they're great. They're wonderful. They take a bit of work, but they're very, very light and fluffy, and depending on how you make them, they're delectable little things.
Okay, I had no idea they were called meringues. Nice.
Yeah, they're fun. So, a little bit of baking knowledge for everyone. But yeah, they're literally just egg whites and sugar. They're and every so often you put citrus in them as well. So, so what do you guys want to do? Do you want to go directly to the tannery?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to
Did-
the Teamsters?
Did,
Because the Teamsters would be the other direction, about 10 minutes away.
did the
Well, let's do
Dockmaster
it. Let's
give
do
us
the-
Did the Dockmaster give us a time frame before we have to, I guess, relegate?
Well, you have 6 hours before your dock time is no longer paid for. And if you are still docked when that time expires, they will put a landlock on your ship, which basically just means when you get to the dock, you tie off your ship so it doesn't float away, and they basically make sure that you can't
A boot.
untie the ship.
Yeah.
So
It's boot.
and you'll be stuck there until you pay for the additional time that you're suspending there, which is not an uncommon thing to happen on the dock. This just the fact that they rented it to you for 6 hours is weird.
Especially for what they charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
I'm just gonna put this out there. I get it. We've been through a lot. We need to hustle and get these people off so they can go. They don't seem to be impeding people from leaving. They're gonna
Right.
gouge the crap out of us.
Yeah.
I don't know what's in it for us right now, aside from sticking our noses into this, possibly a beehive, and we're out more gold.
I don't know.
My
if we have
thinking
enough-
is we can do our best to get resupplied, and with the very least, see if we get just enough to go, at the very least, maybe to go to, maybe we can make it to Voxus Landing. I think we want to avoid a beer.
Can I do a quick, based on the current supplies we have,
Mm-hmm.
how much would I gather with the current amount of people we have on 3 ships? We could go before we run out of food, essentially.
You were effectively kind of overladen with supplies when you left because, again, Seaston was self-sustaining. So when a majority of the population leaves, they brought with them a lot of food and supplies and other things like that. So you probably still have a couple weeks worth of supplies on all 3 ships before you would need to start, and that's without any sort of rationing or anything like that. So,
And the nearest place is easily within 2 weeks, I imagine.
well, Ebbia would be the closest place that you guys could get, and that's maybe about a week's journey. Vox's Landing is closer to a week and a half to 2 weeks, depending on
Oh,
the.
I'm going to point out if you're suggesting we go to Abia, Abia is the hive of scum and villainy in this scenario, and we just met a bunch of scum.
Yeah, no, we should probably go to somewhere more.
and that is one of the places
Fair.
Reggie does not like to go to.
Yeah, I agree with Smegwick. We shouldn't spend too much time here, otherwise we may end up having to fight an entire guild of who knows what.
So yeah,
I think we just stock up and leave.
and there's always merchant ships. If you travel on trade routes, you generally will run into merchant ships and the things like that on the way to kind of top you up. If you go off of trade routes, then generally the people that you meet when you're not on the trade routes are not people you want to have long conversations with. But yeah, while you're on the trade routes, it's exceedingly rare if you're on a trade route for you to actually run out of supplies if you have money. Because you will generally almost always find someone who will sell you rations.
But between Skywell and Abia, we need to be careful.
No.
Yeah, we should.
Well, again, the major tradeway there is safe-ish. The closer you get to Ebbia, it technically is incredibly safe if you pay the right people. Technically, Ebbia, if you pay the right people, is one of the safest places in the sovereignty. As
I'll let you
long
guys-
as the right people like you.
Well, yeah, but it's also Tortuga.
Effectively.
Yeah, so
I'll let you guys pick where we go. We should probably just get what we need and
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
And anyone who wants to stay can stay among those 8 people, and then we just go.
because I don't think we don't get the feeling that those people aren't going to be able to get off the island, right? I mean, get off of Skywell, right?
Well, they would have to find passage off of this is Skywell, and right now, you guys are the only ship that seems to be leaving.
But I'm going to point out to them because I'm sure they don't have the gold to stay here very long,
Yeah.
if they have anything at all.
They-
They are able to sustain themselves, right?
If they have work, yes. Again, the ships themselves still have a couple weeks worth of rations, and if they can find work, they're perfectly fine. You get from the conversations you have with them, most of them would probably head to Vox's Landing.
Vox's Landing.
Or would just look for merchant ships as they were going to basically kind of bleed their passengers off by the time they got to Vox's. And Vox's, if you're looking for work, you can find it in Vox's.
That's what I was. I think I would relay that to the people at those other ships just so they can speed their way along, so they don't end up getting gouged like we do, or we might.
Apparently, from what's been said, one of the ships is going to go almost due north and try to make it to Cyclicali Station. They were hoping to get another week's worth of rations because Cyclicali is closer to a month away. So one of the ships is going to go there because that's where you can get farming work.
Don't they also get it at Canalome?
Say again?
Canalome? Is that how you say it's?
Yeah,
right next to it.
Canalome is an agriculture place. Basically, most of the northern reaches has farms everywhere. That's what the northern reaches are known for. So, Canalome would have that as well. It's just Cyclicali Station is where you go to find workers. Canalome is just a major city where you sell goods at.
The biggest city of all the farming areas.
Yeah. Canalome tends to be a lot better for people selling than it is for people looking to sell themselves as workers. Cyclicali Station is where you go to get workers. So yeah, they don't seem quite as upset about this situation as you guys are. They've just kind of gone, okay, and they've made other plans. So one of the ships is going to be heading for Cyclicali. The other ship is going to be going for Vox's Landing. And again, they can't take the crew that you currently have on your ship right now. But they're going to the representatives you have here are going to see if they can't find places to get people in the Skywell, whether it's work on the Skywell or they were planning on going to the Teamsters because Teamsters ship things. That's what they do. So if they could get in good with the Teamsters, they might be able to get book passage on one of their ships, transferring goods to and from places. So.
Okay, so they can take care of them. So I didn't want to just ditch them and themselves.
As long as they can find someone that will offer them work, they can. There's no guarantee they're going to be able to find that yet, but
once we got away from the docks, they didn't seem to be any too much of an impediment. The people seemed a little sullen, as you said, but
the people here seem sullen. The three people you have with you aren't. Again, they have not reacted negatively to any of this. They seem to just kind of accept it as, okay, this is totally normal.
I just mean the operation of the Skywell itself.
Yeah. They
right.
don't know any better. None of them have been here for years at the bare minimum, so.
We should probably stock up on whatever rations we can and help out those who are going and staying, etc.
I think they seem to got it down. They seem we'll relay the information, but they seem to have a pretty good idea of where they need to go. Good farmer work is always needed when you go north.
It's like one of those things where we're like, okay, actually, and then just go right back into the store we just left.
Okay. So as you come back in, he goes, nice to see you again. It's been so long. What can I do for you?
Whatever you can hook us up with so we can get out of here before our time is up and we owe more gold than we've ever paid here before.
Can I insight check him when he says that? Like, does he recognize the fact that we were just here?
No insight check needed. It was a joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't fool us like that.
Yeah, we've had issues with the people we dealt with before, so.
So he goes, what specifically were you looking for? If it's rations you're looking for, I'm a bit tapped out. I can give you a bit, depending on how many mouths you're planning on feeding.
Whatever you got, whatever you can spare for a small cargo ship.
Well,
crew here.
Let's see. I could probably.
Because I would imagine the people that are leaving are going to take the ration stuff with them too. Or are they leaving that behind?
That would be something you would discuss with them.
Okay. Well, I mean, if they're doing that, I was fine with it. But...
according to the general store, he effectively what he can sell you is about 10 days worth of rations for a crew of 4, if that's what you're looking for. And it would be 3 silver per day's worth of ration per person. So grand total of 12 silver per days of rations for 4 people, and then 10 of those. So 120 silver.
Or 12 gold, I mean?
Roughly, yeah. 12 gold.
Okay.
And that would be 10 days worth of ration for all 4 of you.
And we can make it to boxes with that, and they can take what they need.
Well, if they're hooked up with what they can take and we can do with what we got, we should be good.
Yeah.
He does also offer he has a wand of good berries.
Oh.
It only has 4 charges, but it would be about 100 gold for the wand itself.
Does it recharge?
This one doesn't, unfortunately.
I'll leave it up to you guys if someone wants to purchase that for themselves.
Or it doesn't naturally recharge. If you found someone with magical skills and access to a good berry spell, they might be able to impart more charges on it. But
I mean, I don't have any of my own personal funds, so I'll leave it up to you guys.
We're kind of like, we're going to get by with what we got going on right now. I wouldn't...
Yeah.
I mean, Smegrick's going to pass.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good with just the rations.
Okay. So, because of just how much, how physically large they are, he just asks which dock your ship is docked at, and he'll send people to deliver the goods within about 3 hours.
Is the dock number Almirage's Escapade?
Yep. So you're able to tell him that, and yeah, he's able to get the goods to you. So you're good on those supplies.
Well, unless there's, I guess, take them to see they can go talk. I mean, we don't need to babysit them. You guys
No,
can go
they've
talk to.
they've already gone off.
Okay. I turn around like, oh, okay. But I think at this point we just go back to the ship unless we want to do some digging. But that doesn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what we're going to... I mean, don't be wrong, I feel with the situation, but either they're moving on or they're setting up more. I'm kind of worried about the previous dockmaster, if he's going to be coming back or not, but aside from...
Good point. Hey, what happened to the other guy?
Oh, well, he retired. They offered him a pretty penny for it. To be perfectly honest, I've gotten paid better by these people than really anyone I've ever dealt with. I've even, in my younger days, dealt with some less than savory types who would pay extra for you to forget they were here. And these people are paying extra without any mention of forgetfulness. It's been very strange to see them just throwing around money the way that they do.
But
Especially with how bad it is to try and dock here and how expensive it is.
But are they pulling up stakes soon, or they are... I'm sorry, I thought the previous conversation they were getting ready to leave. Or are they still going to be, like, cycling through?
I don't quite know, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, great. All right.
They seem to be getting ready for something, but they've been getting ready for 3 weeks now.
You said almost done.
I don't know if they'll be getting ready for another 3 weeks, or another 3 days, or the 3 hours.
Okay.
I think it's time we talk to these Teamsters. They might know because they still have at least some semblance of in and out here.
We got to kill 3 hours anyway, so might as well.
I'm sorry, Jody, just to confirm, because I'm doing the bookkeeping. 12 gold, you said?
Affirmative.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Well, let's go to the Teamsters then.
So yeah, making it there again, not very difficult. You come in and you can see the Teamsters Guild in general tends to be kind of a busy place normally, just because people always need shipping. Shipping keeps a country running, keeping goods flowing where they're supposed to. This one is not. You can see there's 3 different people here. They're all kind of just sitting back, chilling. You can see 2 of them are playing cards. Another one is just kind of sitting behind a desk as they come in. He kind of raises his hat up that he'd had over his eyes. He's like, "Oh, hello there. And what can I do for you?"
It's your wheelhouse there, buddy, and I'll just pat Reggie.
Yeah. First off, we do apologize for interrupting your fine little competitive game right here. Me and my compatriots are relative newcomers, and we couldn't help but notice that things seem a little different than what it was like here last time. We were just wondering if you might be able to tell us a little bit of what exactly is going on here. We're just curious here. We're newcomers.
Why, nothing is going on here. Can't you see? Absolutely nothing is going on here. And you see him pick up a bag of gold. It's exactly what's going on here. And he puts it in his pocket.
Boy.
Nothing is going on here. And you see him almost laughing at how absurd the statement is. Like, he's not even trying to hide, like, there doesn't seem to be anything nefarious about it. He's literally going, "No, the official story is nothing is going on. Can't you see?"
Hmm.
They're paying him to keep his mouth shut.
Oh, they're paying off everyone so they don't have a problem.
Yeah.
He again, he doesn't seem to be nefarious or hiding anything from you. He's just simply indicated that
I've been paid to go on break, y'all.
yeah, it's effectively what he's told you.
Hmm.
Because they're handling the docks and you don't mess with the Teamsters.
I see. And how much is nothing worth these days?
Well, let's say it's enough that we're not particularly upset of the lost business. Or the fact that none of me ships are currently docked.
No, that explains why none of the ships are marked.
None of the ships currently on the station belong to anyone on the station.
Because
Or
those
anyone.
those
There's
those ships
no
those ships
captains
aren't
for-
here.
Well, the ships are here, but nobody owns them. Nobody
Yeah.
goes on them.
It's a
Nobody
mystery.
has ever used them. They're just here. You see him kind of shake his head. To be perfectly honest, I'm ready for it to all be over. As much as the money is nice, I'll be very happy when I'm back to being hectic and overworked and actually doing something.
Well,
I'm
one-
inside checking that. I'm so inside
Go for it.
checking that.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's
So they asked them. I'm just going to ask this guy whether they're inciting in this case because I think this guy. I get the what's going on here.
In the meantime, I got a 19.
Okay?
I have got a dirty 20.
So between the two of you, you don't detect any sort of deception. He doesn't even seem to be choosing his words that carefully.
Oh, we can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, this is what's going on. I'm getting paid to do nothing. And he seems bored.
Since the dockmaster retired, the previous dockmaster, has anyone seen him, or did he go off to live on a farm?
If I remember correctly, I believe he actually went to,
Did anyone actually see him leave? Is what I'm really asking.
yeah, he went on one of our ships. We delivered him
okay.
to, I think it was Canalome that we sent him to. But he might have been booking passage off of Canalome, maybe to Imperius. He got paid very, very well and was just looking for a comfortable place to go.
Makes
Hearing the
sense.
transition from Skywell to Cantalome to Imperius for retirement.
Mm,
Oh, we
These
need to get.
people got
We need to get the hell out of here.
Well,
uh,
Canalome, you don't need a ton of money to live comfortably. Imperius, on
yeah.
the other hand,
Yeah, exactly.
that's folding my money there.
That's boondocks to, Wyoming, Kansas, farmland, Nebraska, and then Vegas. It's kind of like
Effectively. Upper West Side, New York City.
Manhattan.
yeah. Initially, it's to Siberia and then going right back to.
It has certainly been a long time since I've last seen money like this be paid all at once.
I'll quietly whisper. Don't you guys kind of want to get a piece of that?
Get a
To
piece of
whom are
what?
you whispering?
To Smegwick, because Reggie's ahead of
okay.
us.
I thought you were
They have
all
that
talking
kind
to
of
them. It's
money.
like, they are getting it.
If they have that kind of money, maybe we can get work from them and two birds with one stone. Find out what they're doing while getting paid by them.
I don't know if we want to go poking a hornet's nest.
I sincerely doubt you'll be getting any work from them.
Yeah, they got to have. See, what the thing is, they got this place locked up for what they need. They don't need us because they don't need these. Because they don't need these guys.
Sorry to eavesdrop on your conversation, but there's not a lot going here, and you haven't quite figured out what the dock fees are, have you?
So
We got charged a
Astronomical,
lot.
That's what.
They're not making any money here. They're spending.
No,
it.
they're not. Exactly.
The dock fees are to encourage people not to come back.
Exactly. They're buttoning this place up, at least for as long as they need, and they're dumping a lot.
Again, I've got no problem with them. They've been nothing but kind to me. But
Because you've been nice to them.
because
Yes.
Whoever they are that you don't know
I
about,
have
that you have not
something
told
that-
us about.
they want. However, you have nothing that they want.
I look at Zorian. Exactly.
So the likelihood of you getting a piece of this is relatively low, unless you happen to have something I'm not aware of.
I mean, clearly you're not aware of much, so we probably have quite a bit. I'll just walk
On
out.
purpose.
I'll just wait outside.
Well, is there anything else I can do for the rest of you? If you're looking for passage off the station, it'll take at least a few
Not-
days.
Not for us. There are recently some refugees that have fallen on 4 times. They
Say
will be
no
looking to
more.
work. They're going to be coming to you to look for work. So
Send them to me. I won't have any work for them, but I can definitely get them somewhere where they can get it.
exactly where they
Thank
where they
you
can
so
go.
much.
Appreciate it.
It's literally what to do, and I haven't had anything to do for near a month, so...
Well, at least we have it. Well, at least we now have some place to put them, but it's getting them on the island that's going to be tricky.
Well,
But maybe you can help out with that.
how many people are we talking here?
25 on our ship, and then 2 small ships of the same type, laden. A lot of people needing to get to other places where they can go.
I'll talk to the dockmaster myself.
I honestly thought your feed froze.
No, that was my brain freezing. He goes, I'll talk to the dockmaster himself. We'll effectively be treating these crewmen as cargo rather than visitors. Makes them slightly easier to get onto the station. And we'll
Yeah, maybe
simply unload your people. There are plenty of inns that are near empty right now. They can find a place to rest for a few days. I'll get one of my ships here. We'll send them off probably to Cyclocali Station. That's the easiest to get to. Voxus Landon's been having a bit of an uproar recently.
Oh,
In the timing.
Someone cast darkness on Reggie. I'm sorry. Where'd you? I missed that part. Where'd you say they were
Sorry,
going
y'all.
to? Jody?
Cyclocali is where he's going to send them. He said
okay.
something's happened at Voxus Landon.
Oh, so something's happened at Voxus?
yeah, like an uprising, he said.
He said they're having a bit of a tussle over there.
What's happening over there? Sorry, we've been
Oh.
away for a while.
One of the princes over there has
Oh,
decided
God.
to
Oh no.
expand his territory a wee bit, and the other ones were less than pleased, and it created a bit of a kerfuffle.
Is it
They're
like a battle?
dealing with it, but it's not
Is
a
it-
place I'd recommend going to for a wee bit.
Clearly, our charge has learned nothing.
Is this like one of those times like Voxus Land is like, oh well, it's about time for someone to try and press their territory.
Generally, Vox's Landing is not known for. It's known more for stability than anything else.
So this is weird.
Yeah, the princes themselves are no like they don't like each other a lot, but they respect each other, and
But they don't-
they know
okay,
better
okay.
than to shake things up. And
Oh, so
You
they,
say that-
so they don't normally like vie for power too much. Yeah.
when they do, it's political power. It's politics. They're very, very
Okay.
good at politics over there. But as
You
far
know,
as
it's-
turning into something where Vox's Landing is not welcoming, that is not something you've heard of happening in your little lifetime.
Yeah, this is just another reason why I'm glad I left that life.
You really aren't putting on airs, are you?
I'm sorry, what?
You really are. Were.
But what made you think I wasn't?
Well, you.
Fair point. But by the way, my good sir, and I'm talking back to the Teamster now.
Mhm.
If I may, you say that you would speak to the Dockmaster just out of pure curiosity. I know you say like we're most likely not going to find any work here, but is there actually someone that the Dockmaster answers to? Like, who's running this whole thing here?
No one is running anything here, and it's definitely not the pain in the ass in the tannery.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for telling us where it's not happening.
Mhm.
And again, he seems to find everything about this amusing.
Well, he does, yeah, because he's not in danger. At least.
Well, I do believe we have another little errand we have to make.
Hey,
Well, like I said, talk to the dockmaster. We will get your goods off your ship within an hour or so here.
I
That
would say
actually begs the question.
So that won't be a problem for you, is what we were kind of
Not at
inquiring.
all.
Okay.
That actually begs the question. Our ship is docked. Where are the other two ships? Are they still kind of in
They're-
holding, like
They're
15
in the
miles
holding
away?
pattern. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, only
So-
one ship was given clearance to dock. So
Yeah, so we
Right.
kind of, so we really, like, look, guys, I get the idea, but these people are kind of like, they've been trapped on an island for a very long time, and we're risking a lot while they're circling around.
we'll
I mean,
do
we
it
can
as fast as we can.
You know about how soon that might be?
It'll take us a better part of a day to go through all three of them.
Well, our ship, getting our ship off first, so that then
that
they can...
we'll have that done within the hour.
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you.
yeah, that'd be great.
Have fun.
Mm.
I
And
think
he
we could,
tilts his hat back down, leans back in his chair again.
Have a good nap.
You know, the last place I had similar vibes from.
A
we don't talk
tannery.
about
A windmill. Yeah.
because what is so important about this place? Clearly, it's here they want. It's nowhere else because
No,
they
no,
can't get
it's-
to leave.
No, it's this place, staging area for where they're going to, wherever that is. And
know.
that's the thing.
I'm just getting vibes from past couple weeks.
Yeah.
I
Catch my
get it.
drift.
I get it. I'm also kind of like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
yeah.
I'm just
Also-
I'm just
Also,
trying to
what's
get
so
trying to
you
get
first.
a pay. I'm just trying to get a pay for us. We barely survived whatever the hell that was back on the island.
Also, what's so special about a tannery of all places?
Mm,
It's just leather.
Hub of operations.
I mean, I guess, but you can do that anywhere.
yeah.
Maybe it doesn't even matter.
They probably
Does
picked a
it-
location. They picked a smelly one, but
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
let's give it a shot. Let's head over there.
You think it's something?
oh, we're gonna go pick a fight. Okay.
You
No,
think
we're
it's
not.
a
We're
place-
not picking a fight. I'm merely curious to see if we can put a face to the title.
So, what were you gonna say, Aoi?
Oh, why? Yeah, maybe that would be a place no one would ever expect to find an HQ.
And it's as Smedgwick says, it is certainly a smelly place.
I mean, it was while I was operating.
Oh yeah.
Good point.
So, with that, you all kind of gather your things, and unfortunately, that is where we're going to end it for tonight. As always, if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on Twitter, follow my Twitter channel or my Twitch channel. My word, it's been a rough day, guys. I put out content. I I run D&D games on Wednesday nights. Anyway,
Yes.
my mind is leaving me, so that's all for me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.